come on together. Over.
All right, got a little bit of radio chatter going on already. People anxious for the net. I don't know why. I guess I always get a little anxious too, but that's probably a different thing. But I think I'm ready. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, and I'm not even sure if this is the right script, but I'm going to wing it. That's what we usually do. So I noticed last week that the live stream seemed to die, I guess, before it really ended. I'm not sure what's happening that's causing that. It's impossible for me to monitor that desk from this desk. I've got a little remote keypad here that I can use to switch scenes, and that's really the limit of my control. So once we get going here, and we are going here, we have 45 seconds. You know, I'm in this chair until it's over. So, and that's okay. The live stream was never meant to be a, you know, primary function. That's secondary, tertiary, fourth, fifth, sixth. That is not a priority here. The radio is. So here in about 20 seconds, I will be focused on the radio and in this log, the one right here. Well, you're going to see it. Where is the log? Yeah, that log right there. That log is the one that you're going to see while I'm doing this log right here, I think. So we'll see. Okay, it is officially time to go. So I'm going to be my customary 15 to 20 seconds late. Let me see if this push to talk works. All right, here we go. Good evening, friends, and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. I'll be working off of the Pine Log repeater tonight, but we'll be networked in with Sassafras, Lookout Mountain, Crawford, Somerville, Jersey, Madison, Ball Ground, McDonough, the VoIP service, Columbus, Zebulon, Noonan, and Moreland. Tonight our RF coverage will be in excess of 31,000 square miles. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. I'd like to thank everyone who has made the North Georgia GMRS net the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Let me brake. I don't like that foot pedal. Back to the hand switch. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Oh, I think I just said that. Yeah, okay. So, as you know, this net takes place every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Your net control tonight is Atlanta 946, WQYR 514, who could be replaced at any moment. So, bear that in mind. My name is Justin. I'm located in Woodstock, Georgia. On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we'd like to know. This is a family-based network, and we encourage you to get your family involved. Spouses, kids, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, moms, dads, all of them. We'd love to hear from any of your extended family during the net. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address the other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. The use of your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and sign out of the net. When signing in, please speak slowly and clearly as you give your tactical unit number, your call sign, your name, and your location. 4 things: TAC number, call sign, name, and location. Okay, at this time I will begin taking check-ins. Do we have any VoIP service check-ins? Please call net control now.
This is Atlanta 420 WRFS 771. William, the Pine Log, logging in on RF frequency. And again, name is William, and my location is Roswell, Georgia, and welcome to the group. R32, Chris, in Orlando, Florida, checking in and out for tonight.
Okay, I was anticipating at least one more VoIP check-in, so I wanted to make a nice big break there for them. But at this time, I'm going to go ahead and check and acknowledge the check-ins that we have. We have Atlanta 420 William, who is checking in from Roswell. Thank you for checking in with us tonight. Looking forward to talking with you. We also have Atlanta 32 Chris in Orlando. Chris is in Orlando as part of his occupation as a new truck driver. So I hope things are going well for you down there, and look forward to hearing of your roadway adventures. I've got you in the log, Chris, as in and out, so we'll catch up with you another time. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 403, Bobby in Port Charlotte, Florida. Good to hear from you tonight, Bobby. I'm looking forward to hearing of your Florida adventures as well. Sunburns and alligator sightings and all of that. At this time, I'm going to take another pause and ask for any further VoIP check-ins. Anyone checking in through the voice over Internet Protocol service, please call Net Control now. Sorry about that. Okay.
Atlanta 403, a comment from Net Control.
Well, okay, 403, come on. Atlanta 403 with your comment.
Control, I don't know if it's only on my end or if it's system-wide, but the VoIP seems to cycle in and out about every 5 seconds. I lose you for a couple seconds and then cycles back in. I don't know if that's just my internet connection or if that's system-wide.
All right, Bobby, I understand that. I'm not sure that there's anything I can do about that, but that is good information to know about. Maybe you can pull audio from the live stream and listen that way. Hopefully that's better. Just so that you know, you and the other VoIP users know, the audio coming to me is great. So you sound fantastic. So when it's your time to talk after a while, you can speak with confidence. And I'll understand there's some delay involved if you are monitoring off of the live stream. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on, and I'm going to ask for any visiting licensed GMRS operators or new members of the North Georgia GMRS network. This is anyone who is a licensed GMRS user but is not a member, or anyone who is a brand new member to the group. We welcome guests and visitors to North Georgia GMRS, and also obviously new folks. So this is your time. Please call Net Control now. Crickets. I needed that. You stay close.
Atlanta 92, Net Control.
Go ahead, Atlanta 92.
Good afternoon to you, first-time user, and thank you for letting me on here. I'm down here in Tampa, Florida. Good to talk to you guys.
Understand, checking in all the way from Tampa, Florida by way of VoIP service. Glad to have you in here, and look forward to catching up with you here in a little bit and getting to know you a little better. So stick around. The way this typically works is I will call for check-ins, and once we get a good list of check-ins going, I'll go back to the top of my list and take comments from each individual on the list. So you're the fourth one on my list, so once we come back around, you'll come up pretty quick. But I've got you in here. I believe this is Daryl from Tampa, Florida. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to Pine Log check-ins. Anyone wishing to check in to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net from the Pine Log repeater, please call net control now.
This is QIJ 279, Nick in Ackworth. Short time with a comment real quick.
Atlanta 291 with a comment. Come on in here.
Great protocol, but I wanted to comment on your earlier transaction where you had stated the same information twice. It's actually correct to do that given the fact that you're on a repeater. With that, I'm going to put the mic down. Have a good night.
Yes, the repeater. Understood. Thank you for that comment, and please do put the mic down. Step away from the microphone. Anyone else wishing to check in on the Pine Log repeater? Anyone other than Nick, please call net control now.
This is Atlanta 948, WRAL 430, Gary in Woodstock. Check me in and out, Justin. This is Atlanta 261, WRCT 399, Scott from Holly Springs / Woodstock, checking in this evening. Got some free time finally. Thank you.
This is Atlanta 780, WKUV 439, Houston and Austell.
This is Atlanta 276, WRED 972, Kirby and Kansas.
This is Atlanta 57, WQZC 82, Andrew in Holly Springs. This is Atlanta 26, Flip in the beautiful Druid Hills. This is Atlanta 275, WREB 972, Ken in Canton.
Okay, net control will take a break right there and acknowledge the check-ins that we have. We've heard from Atlanta 291 Nick from Ackworth. Nick was short time, so we've heard his comment and I've got him in and out of the log. Next on my list I have Atlanta 948 Gary here in Woodstock. Also short time. Gary, I've got you in here as in and out. Thank you for taking the time to check in with us tonight. Also I have Atlanta 261 Scott in Holly Springs. Scott is in. Good to have you in. I'm glad that you've got some time this evening to hang out with us, and looking forward to hearing of your adventures. Next on my list I have Atlanta 780 Houston in Austell. Houston, it's great to hear from you, and also looking forward to hearing of your adventures. It seems like it's been a while since we've gathered with you, so looking forward to that. I also have Atlanta 276 Kirby in Canton. Thank you, Kirby, for checking in with us tonight. Atlanta 57 Andrew in Holly Springs. Andrew, it's good to hear from you. Looking forward to talking with you. Also have Atlanta 26 Flip in Druid Hills. Thank you, Flip, for checking in tonight. And look forward to talking with you here in just a little bit. And finally on my list I have Atlanta 275 Ken in Canton. Thank you, Ken, for checking in with us tonight. It's great to hear from you. At this time, I'm going to open up the check-ins to any repeater anywhere. That's anyone wishing to check into the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net from Pine Log or any other repeater. Please call net control now.
Atlanta 733, Atlanta 36, Bill on the Taylor 3,
Scott Davis over here in Newnan. You might call on me, but I might be short-timed. I don't know yet. Back to next.
This is Newnan 25, WRCO 957, coming in on the McDonough repeater. Hope I'm making it. Good evening, Justin, and everybody on the net.
This is Atlanta 80796 and 658.
29, Marty, Tyrone. Good evening, Justin, and everybody else on the net, including all the new folks.
Okay, I'm going to take a little break right there. There were several doubles and a very unusual set of circumstances where I could hear both stations at the same time. So the first set of doubles I had was Atlanta 36, Bill, checking in from the Taylor's Ridge machine. It's great to hear from you, Bill. Glad to have you in here tonight. And at the same time, I also heard Atlanta 130 Davis checking in from Fayetteville. So I heard the two of you simultaneously. Hopefully, when it's time to take comments, we'll get them one at a time. Next on my list, I have Newnan 25 Joe checking in by way of RF on the McDonough repeater. Fantastic to hear you on the air. Looking forward to talking with you in a little while. Next pair of doubles that I heard, two check in simultaneously, which is really weird. I heard Atlanta 80 Scott in Dallas. Thank you, Scott, for checking in with us tonight. At least I believe that's what I heard. But at the same time I was hearing that check in, I was also hearing Newnan 29 Marty in Tyrone. So Marty, thank you for checking in with us tonight. And if I got any of those wrong, or if I've missed anyone, please correct me and call Net Control now. Okay, maybe I got it right. I'm as surprised as you are. So with that, I think we've got a pretty good list to start off with, and we can always take additional check-ins later. So let's go on up to the top of the list and talk with Atlanta 420 William. William is a new member and would like to hear of some of William's radio adventures this week. How you doing, William?
This is Atlanta 420. Been having some great adventures on the motorcycle and testing out some new equipment there. I kind of smiled also with the two that came in on double. I could also hear them in double repeating. The VoIP, I'm listening and doing both, so I could hear the latency that he was talking about. That there seemed to be like a 5-second delay in breaks, and possibly someone was transmitting on a sub-frequency on the network there. Been enjoying it. I'll post some little equipment pieces that I've got for the voice over internet protocol users. That with the Bluetooth microphones, they help so that you don't have to pick up your phone while driving. But the other little device is a FM transmitter that plugs into your phone, so you can use your car speakers to listen to your music, but hear clearly people over the net. I've been enjoying talking with our new members and others. Atlanta 123 has been really helpful with the radio checks, and always nice to hear the VoIP transmissions from those in travel. So for the ones in the trucking, we're listening and we'll enjoy. Over.
Outstanding. Yes, I've heard quite a lot of traffic this week throughout the day. It's been a bit of a pleasure. You know, one of the side effects from working at home is I'm able to monitor radio traffic throughout the day. It's not very often that I'm able to get on, but and every now and then I have to turn the radio way down or off because I'm on a call. But most of my meetings have been uh, web type meetings where I can type in my chat and I don't have to speak, so I can multi-listen, and that's been a real cool thing to be able to monitor and listen in on and what's going on in the network out there, and there have been some new users and they've been burning up the airwaves and it's been fantastic. I love to hear the activity on the air, so glad to have you in here, and yeah. You know, we have used Zello in the past a number of times, and we really like the VoIP service because it allows us to stay connected even when we're traveling or out of town. We've been able to check in on nets from many states away, and we've been able to just monitor traffic. You get a little bit of homesick and you want a taste of North Georgia, you can often find it if you just monitor the app for a while, and somebody will come on there, or you can throw a call sign out and get some traffic that way. So that is a great feature, and we're excited at the potential because we have some new things in the works related to the VoIP service. Um, Testing is still underway, but hopefully soon we'll be able to talk a little bit more about what that's going to be and how that's going to work. So we're excited about that. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 32, Chris in Orlando. Chris, it's great to have you with us tonight. I hope that you're able to monitor, and remember, shiny side up and a dirty side down. With that, you should be just fine out there on the road. That's really about all the advice that I got when I started out. So yeah, that worked for me. Next on my list, oh, by the way, Chris was in and out, so thank you for that check-in, Chris. We'll look forward to talking with you again soon. Next on my list is Atlanta 403. Bobby, also in Florida at Port Charlotte. What have you been up to, Bobby? Have you been catching alligators down there? I'm getting a little behind on the video switching. Focused on the radio. And we lost Bobby. If he's monitoring the live stream, that might be part of why we've lost him, because it can have many seconds of delay, half a minute. So I'm going to vamp here for a moment, and hopefully we'll get Bobby in here soon. Bobby, soon. We're looking for Bobby, Atlanta 10403. Here he is. Now, Bobby, we got no audio with that, so if you would come back with that again, try it one more time. Must be a network between where he's at and where we're at, because everybody else on the VoIP seems to be coming through.
For 03, I just lost the audio for Zello on this end. I'm just watching it on YouTube.
Okay. All right, Bobby. Well, we got that you've lost the audio on your end. We heard that last transmission. We did not hear the one prior to that. So, you know, it seems that the others are working okay on Zello. Hopefully, it's working and it's just a connectivity on your end. So power your device off and back on and try it again. I'm just kidding. Bobby, I hate that we can't have a conversation with you, but look forward to catching up with you again real soon. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our very first timer, Atlanta 92, Daryl in Tampa. Daryl, how you doing? And how is the VoIP service working for you?
I'm doing good. Sorry about that, but I was got the wrong key up. But I'm losing audio off and on too. I don't know, maybe, I don't know what's going on, but I'm losing it off and on, but I'm hearing you now, so I think we're okay.
All right, Daryl, I understand, and sometimes when we get into the digital world, that's one of the effects that we have to deal with. For the most part, it works pretty reliably, and when we introduce new technologies here, we're not at that point yet, but when we do, we think we'll have some improvements with regards to that latency issue and the digital path being broken. So we hope to be able to improve on that. But Daryl, what brings you to North Georgia GMRS? We're glad to have you in here.
It's good to be here, and hello to everybody out there. I'll be getting on the radio soon and probably be heading up that way, actually. I'm going to try to touch up and reach somebody up there.
Well, excellent. We've had members in the past that would travel through from time to time and would check in by way of radio when they were in the area and by way of the VYP service when they were not. And so yeah, we look forward to hearing of your traveling adventures, and it'd be great to get an RF check-in from you sometime, or just a QSO sometime when you're in the area on RF. Just throw your call sign out there, and somebody is bound to be there listening and wanting to have a conversation. So great to have you in here, and we look forward to hearing more from you as we move on. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 291, Nick in Ackworth. Nick has been barred from any further comments for the duration of the net. That's not true. I'm just kidding. He's welcome to chime in here, but he said he was short time, so I've got him in the log as in and out. And we'll move on next on my list. Atlanta 948. Gary in Woodstock is also in and out. He's a busy guy, and thank you, Gary, for checking in and monitoring with us. Always a pleasure to have you in the group. Next on my list is Atlanta 261, Scott in Holly Springs. Scott, have you completed all of your projects and tasks?
This is Atlanta 261. Thank you, Net Control, Mr. Justin. As far as tasks, no, I don't think they will ever be done. That's awesome. I just want to let you guys know, family as well. It's good to hear the new members, so to speak. 123 and 420, absolutely. Running through Zillow when I'm downtown at work. And then I heard somebody needing some plumber's putty, just a little bit of plumber's putty for a tiki bar. I don't know who it was asking for plumber's putty. I'll have to scroll back, but I'm like, man, I've got a 5-gallon bucket of that, and it's killing me. So if you can find that person that needs that plumber's putty, that's awesome. But yeah, and I actually heard 136 Aiden today, if he's listening. That was pretty awesome, and big shout outs to Jesse 170. But just wanted to say hello and checking in. All is good. Operating on the HT because we had an incident with Kitty Cat taking the power cord out the base station.
I saw that photo of your cat ventures, and yeah, well, you're making it in just fine on the HT. You make it in full quiet, so we're glad for that. You sound fantastic, and yes, I didn't hear Atlanta 136. I wish I did, and Atlanta 170 and Atlanta 123. Hopefully, a couple of those guys will make a check-in here in a little bit when we get to the end of the list, and we can collect them as late check-ins. So, but alternatively, they may not make it tonight, and that's okay too. We look forward to catching up with them just as soon as we can. And yeah, I think I'm gonna require some advanced plumbing skills sometime real soon, And when that happens, my thought is that I'm gonna give you 8 ounces of plumber's putty in the deal, because if I keep it, it'll be bad by the time I open up that cup, in 4 years for the next project. So it'd be just as well if I just got rid of it and got a new one the next time it came around. But yeah, I just wanted a little extra sealant in that in the tailstock for that little sink that's out there, and seems to be working very well. I've got a little more work to do on that drain, but it does, at this point, it gets the water out from the immediate area and just dumps it on the ground. I've got plans to dump it on the ground somewhere else, but it's an outdoor sink, and it's mostly hand washing and that kind of thing, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But yeah, I was thinking of you, and I thought, it's a lot closer to go to Lowe's than it is to go to Holly Springs. So anything I might save by paying you a visit, I would spend in gas. Yeah, I just, I had Atlanta 948 pick it up for me. He was headed to the orange one. What's the orange one called? Home Depot. Yeah, he was headed to Home Depot, and just had him pick it up there, and it worked out quite well.
Roger that. I cringed. I'm like, oh my goodness. That's how I won't even send you the picture. But yes, just give me a ring. Although I need to probably ask after the net's over, maybe a question for Atlanta 57, Mr. Andrew, because Mommy's got an issue with her Tahoe. So maybe we can do a plumbing auto conversation later. But appreciate that, Mr. Justin. To be Atlanta 261, clear and monitoring.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Scott. And yeah, we can definitely have a QSO after the net in regards to these topics and many, many more. The floor is always open after the net, and folks are welcome to engage in whatever conversation happens to come up. We definitely encourage that. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 780, Houston in Austell. Houston, it seems like it's been a long time.
Good evening, Justin. I don't think it has. I think I checked in last week. Excuse me, had a frog in my throat.
Oh, yeah.
I got rid of it.
Good.
Yeah, I did talk to 136 today.
Fantastic.
He's spending a lot of time trying to catch up on schoolwork, so I don't know if he'll check in tonight or not, but hey, it was good to talk to him.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It would be good to have him on here, but he's definitely got to get his schoolwork underway. What a weird year for school, but I know that it'd be real easy for somebody to get behind this year and not be diligent in their studies at home. So that I'm sure is quite the challenge. I know if it were me, if this kind of thing happened when I was a high school kid, there's not a chance. There's not even a remote chance I would be spending my time on schoolwork. I would be farming. I would be working on go-karts and working on cars and chasing girls and all those things that teenagers do, and I probably wouldn't be keeping up with my studies. So hopefully Aiden can get caught up and get right back where he needs to be. But yeah, I believe he did check in last week, Houston. I could check the log and see. I don't know, you've been on my mind lately, and I don't know, we got to go have some barbecue or something here pretty soon. Hopefully things are moving in a direction that we can do just that sometime very soon.
Hey, Roger. Yeah, they're still only doing takeout down there right now, but hopefully soon they'll get back to moving tables around and socially distancing and open back up. Maybe we can get together, and I think the governor had said that we could have 25 in a bunch now, so be all right as long as nobody's got that virus. I'm too old to try to catch it.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and you know, and the conversation that we've been having around here is that, you know, it's silly to think that we're going to go for the rest of our lives without catching this virus. At some point, excuse me, at some point we're bound to catch it, and my hope is that we can delay catching this virus long enough that the medical community will have had enough experience and enough insight and enough time to figure this thing out, and so by the time I catch it, they know just what to do for, you know, a fat guy like me versus, you know, a woman or an elderly person or a young man, you know, because I'm sure that the symptoms and the treatments and all of that aren't a one size fits all, and I think that they, in time, they'll figure it out, and their success rates and you know, the number of fatal cases will go way down, and the survivability will improve. But we need them to have a little more experience first, I think. At least that's the way I look at it. So you know, hopefully by the time you and Mona experience anything of that nature, it'll be small potatoes, because they know just what to do and how to treat it, and it'll be no big deal. Kind of like the flu, hopefully. So that's our take on it. But yeah, maybe we can flip tailgates down and sit in the parking lot. I don't know, but 25 people as a gathering would be great. But I hear you. I'm not sure I'm ready for it either, but the time's coming. I think we're going to get there, and I think it'll be soon. So looking forward to that. Well, thank you, Houston, and have a good evening there. Tell Mona that we said hello, and always a pleasure talking with you. Next on my list is Atlanta 276, Kirby in Canton. Kirby, how you doing? You have plans for further paramotoring adventures?
Hey, I'm doing good. Yeah, I've got plans. I haven't hammered down an exact date on when I'm going to get back out there and trying to finish up my training, but it's definitely on the list. I should have everything all wrapped up by the end of the summer. Other than that, it's just another Thursday for me, just hanging out at the house.
All right. Well, I was thinking about those paramotoring adventures, and we were concocting a version of buffalo wing sauce on the stove this evening, and the hot sauce reminded me of you, and then that reminded me of the strapping a motor on your back and watching somebody go take off in the air doing that. I watched a couple of YouTube videos last week, and man, that sure looks like a good time for a young man. But yeah, that would be quite the thing. Hopefully, at some point, we'll be able to gather up and watch as you go up into the air. Watching is about as much as I want to do, but we've also taken my kids to Skydive Atlanta and watched them jump out of airplanes. You don't see very much from the ground, though, but it was fun to do anyway. But all right, Kirby, here I am just rambling about. I don't even know what I'm doing tonight, but glad to hear from you. Anything else that you have for the evening?
Oh, no. Nothing else for me, really. I might try and make another batch of hot sauce now that you mention it. I got a bunch of peppers in my refrigerator that are just asking me to chop them up, so I might go do that after this.
Yeah, that's what you have to do with those peppers. Chop them up. Whether you're going to eat them that way or make a sauce out of them. But good luck with that adventure. I hope that turns out well. All right, great talking with you this evening. Looking forward to catching up with you again real soon. Next on my list is Atlanta 57, Andrew in Holly Springs. How you doing tonight, Andrew?
Good evening, Justin, and everyone. We are doing well over here. Same old, same old. Work is definitely ramping up. Seems like each passing week It seems like people are getting a little bit more adventurous to get out, and yeah, I'm thinking we might be back to normal here very shortly. And that leads me over to what we were talking about with the get-together with the group. Yes, I would definitely like to do that at some point, hopefully in the somewhat short term. I can see it from both angles, though, because, of course, I've been working this entire time being in automotive, which, yes, Scott will talk about the Tahoe, speaking of automotive. Anyway, I've been working the entire time and going in and out of people's vehicles, which is an extension of home, so obviously, thank goodness I have not been made sick whatsoever with that. And then I see the side from my family, with my wife and kids, who have been basically cooped up for the most part, other than some rogue beach trips that they've done here recently. So I can see it from both ends. I can see where people are sure crazy, and some people are, you know, like, hey, this is normal, and so on and so forth. So hopefully we'll be able to have a get-together and have everyone, you know, put a face to the name for those who have not been able to do that so far with the group, because we have a lot of new people, and that's definitely a good thing. So, but again, like I said, doing well over here, and that's pretty much all I got. I will throw it back to net control.
Well, fantastic. Yes, and I think we will be looking at something soon. I don't know exactly what that means, if that's 2 weeks, if that's a month, but we'll definitely be putting something together. I know that the group is itching to gather in some form or fashion. One of the ideas that's come up was doing something like a carry-in picnic, and we could gather at a park someplace, and you know, people could be as distant as they wish and as close as they wish, and everyone will just bring their own meal. And so that's one of the ideas that's been thrown out, and we may pursue something of that nature. We're open to other suggestions and ideas and locations. So if somebody knows of a location that would be suitable, I would love to hear the input from the group. You know, post it on Facebook, and we'll take it under advisement and see what we can come up with. So good stuff, and hope that we're able to do something relatively soon. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 26, Flip in Druid Hills. Flip, how you doing this evening? Are you ready to be a guest net controller again?
I felt like a pretty good newbie during that pet net, but we had fun. I wanted to report that we have had a couple of little backyard get-togethers with our neighbors, and basically it's bring your own everything. Bring it over and take it away with you. That's worked out pretty well, though. We've had fun sitting on the patio and stuff like that. But not a lot new to report here. I'm working on a J-pole antenna. It's kind of a fun thing to do. And I have had the Vespa out a little bit more now that it's warming up. My cutoff in the morning for my running outfit is 65 degrees. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but it has been above 65 degrees, at least down here in Atlanta, early in the morning. So I've been able to ride that to my running group. And other than that, everybody is hanging in there. One child out of school and one child still in. But otherwise, still working and having fun. Hope you all are too.
Oh yeah, what could be more fun than an evening on the radio? Having a good time here, and yeah, we're working. You know, it's an interesting thing, work this week. Typically, you know, my projects, I'm required to have my projects tested and ready for cut-in 2 weeks prior to their cut-in date. And that's a rule that has been in play for a couple of years now, and it's a good rule for a number of reasons. Prior to that, we would routinely be notified of a project with days of notice prior to cut in and have to scramble, and it's a big freak out, and you do poor work when you're rushed like that. But that was a terrible routine that we'd fallen into. And when the two week rule came, I kind of celebrated that a little bit, because that that really spelled a lot of relief from stress and short notice stuff. And let me break. So about partway through the week last week, my boss sends me a Teams messenger thing on the computer and asks me if I've started on a project called Juniper. And I had not. I hadn't seen it on my calendar, and so I hadn't started on it. And his comment back was, it cuts over June 1. And all right, well, we're already inside of 2 weeks, so that's out the window. And looking at the project, it wasn't too terrible, but it was a little bit involved, and it wasn't something I was going to be able to just turn over overnight. It was going to take a couple of days of research and work to make this project come together. It required some not typical equations, and a little bit of research as to how to make those equations work. So long story short, I had the project to the place where I was ready to test it today, and we were getting ready to put a version of the project up on the simulator for testing, and then GE, our vendor, ran into some technical issues that delayed the test a little bit, but I was still looking at get the test on today. It cuts over on Monday. This is really tight, but testing it today means I have tomorrow to work out any errors that we find in the test, and then I can get that submitted over the weekend. GE can work on it over the weekend and have it ready for cutover on Monday. So we're still okay. This is like it was back in the old days, though, and I don't like it. But just before GE is ready to compile the database, I'm going to break again. I get notified that the project's been pushed back until the middle of July. So just a crazy week, and a lot of stress, and a huge relief today. But it's an aggravating relief because the project is ready, except now I have to throw it away. At least the database work. I still have all my notes and my research, but the actual database work has to be discarded and reworked about the first part of July. So that's been my adventure this week, working from home. But all in all, it's better doing that from here than it is from Midtown Atlanta. So I'm happy. All right, Flip. Well, thank you for that and allowing me to ramble on. And next on the list is Atlanta 275. Ken in Canton. What's happening up there, Ken?
Well, just waiting for this whole event to be over so we can get back to normal. Once that happens, I've been talking to 276, Kirby, and I'm really ready for him to start flying so that we can do some radio communication with him up there flying around, and just trying to see how far I can communicate with him without repeater. Over.
Well, that would be fun. That would be a blast. And that reminds me, I guess it's been probably something like 3 years ago now. And we could do this again sometime. And we don't necessarily have to wait for the COVID-19 to be over. We can do this anyway. But we had a few years ago we had launched a weather balloon, and the payload on that balloon, it was actually the Ham Radio Club that launched the balloon. But they also, in the payload, included not only a VHF repeater for ham radio, but also a GMRS repeater. And so as that balloon was rising through the atmosphere, you could begin to call out to it, and it was simplex. It was a simplex repeater. So whenever you would call out to it, you'd call out with your call sign, and it would repeat back to you its call sign. So you could periodically call to see when you could begin to hear it, and then call it periodically as it would go up. And then we also had an app that you could go to on your phone, and the app was showing us the telemetry from the balloon, its elevation, its direction, its speed over the ground, and there was a map to it too, so you could tell where it was at in the region. Very cool stuff. The payload went to, I don't remember what it was. It was 103,000 feet, 103 4,800 feet, I believe, was its peak elevation. And at the time, it was the 114th highest recorded weather balloon launch for that class of balloon. So we were really close to topping the top 100. And it was the very first attempt at a balloon launch from that group, and that was very cool. Since then, they've also done some Pico balloons, which is a little bit of a different animal, but a very cool adventure in and of itself. But maybe one day we'll get back to a weather balloon for North Georgia GMRS. We could do it ourselves as a group if we chose to.
Roger that, and that's interesting as well. But talking to a live person while they're flying around, I thought that would be cool, and just trying that aspect of it, and just putting it out there, saying over this area, how many people can ping. That was a thought. Over.
Oh, I think that would be a lot of fun. I would love to get Kirby to the point where he's ready to do something like that. I would imagine he needs to get some experience and some comfort level in operating the craft before we start complicating it with radio. But when that time comes, I think that would be very, very cool.
Roger that. Last statement, for sure. Over.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that, Ken. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, the balloon launch, that I think would be a fun thing to do. Maybe we could do something like that this year. We'll have to put our heads together and see what we can come up with. So great stuff. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 36. Bill coming in on the Taylor's Ridge machine. Bill, it's great to hear from you. How you doing this evening?
Good evening, and good evening to the net. Great day, beautiful weather after the storms went through, and keep accepting these blasted Fitbit challenging. It is driving me crazy. But right now I'm number 3 with a bunch of youngsters in there, so holding my own. Back to net control.
I gotta check and see what my step count is for the day. Oh, that can't be right. All right, I'm not going to brag about that. Outstanding stuff. Well, I was just checking to see how many steps my phone recorded today, and well, I'm not going to talk about it. But it's great to hear that you are doing well in these Fitbit challenges, and I do enjoy those kind of challenges, and most of the time I'm able to rack up a pretty good count of steps. But I don't know, this last week or so the numbers have been disappointingly low, and today in particular. I think part of the problem is that my phone didn't charge last night, so instead of spending its day in my pocket, it spent its day on my desk. But in any case, normally I would end the day between 8,000 and 10,000 steps on a typical day, and today I'm reading less than 1,000.
Yep, had to put mine in the cradle charge earlier, and am having a great time with it, but hope the winter hangs in there for us. A lot of storms, but riding it out. Net control.
Yes. There have been a lot of storms. Fortunately, there have been a lot of them, but they've been relatively short in duration. I see a 10-minute rainfall, followed by 2 or 3 hours in the clear, followed by a 10-minute rainfall, followed by, cloudy and breezy, but dry. And that's been the pattern here for a few days now. And sometimes the other night it began raining, and about 2 hours later, in the dark, I went out on the deck and marveled at the fact that the deck was dry, despite the fact that it was nighttime and it was wet just a little while ago. So, the wind accelerated the drying process, I guess. But but I love these mild temperatures. I would very much enjoy these temperatures to stick around for a little while longer. Keep the air conditioners off. But thank you for that, Bill. Glad to hear that the challenge is going well for you. And next on my list, I have Atlanta 130 Davis. Davis, are you still with us? You said you might be able to, and you might not.
Hey, sir. I am here, Atlanta. Stand by, let me speak. This is Atlanta 130 WRBT 231. Roger that, Mr. Justin. Good evening to everybody on net. I'm now mobile. I don't know if you can tell at my breath. I am walking to Steak and Shake again to get my nightly milkshake. Yeah, but anyhow, this week's been quite exciting. I've got a new radio on my hand, the Motorola XTL 2500. Been on backup power for a while. So, I don't know if you have any experience with those, Mr. Justin. Over.
No, I don't. I've used a number of HT radios, back in my service days, on the railroad as a signal maintainer. But it was just a matter of whatever radio they gave me was fine. I didn't know one from the next, and as long as it could hit the base, and I could reach a dispatcher, that's all that I cared about. And they had so many different bases and such good coverage with those electronic voters. You could hit a base with just about anything, especially in the area where I worked. They had excellent overlapping coverage. So never really paid that much attention to the radios that I carried when I was at work. Nick probably knows exactly what radio I had at the time that I was working, but I don't have any idea. But that's good stuff. Glad to hear that. And Steak and Shake, you're going to Steak and Shake at this time of the night. They have a happy hour.
If you call back on me, Mr. Justin, but this is Atlanta 130. Yeah, I'm actually in Steak and Shake right now. Over, back next.
Okay, yeah, I was just going to comment that if you're getting a shake, they have a happy hour. What's interesting, I think their happy hour is like from 2 in the afternoon to 5 in the afternoon, and you get half-priced shakes. And they probably still do it. I don't know. It's been a very long time since I've been. But at one time they did the happy hour both AM and PM, so you could go at 2 in the morning and get a half-price milkshake. And Julie and I decided this would be an opportunity to make a great memory with the kids. So we decided one Friday evening that we were going to do that. We were going to get the kids up at 2 o'clock in the morning and take them to Steak and Shake and have half-price milkshakes. And that's what we did. We got them all up. They were, what in the world is going on? What are we doing? And by the time they caught on to the fact that we were going to Steak and Shake for milkshakes, they all thought it was a fantastic idea. We went, we had our shakes and enjoyed it very much. And when the bill came, it was full price. And I said, what happened to half price happy hour milkshakes? And, it was Friday night, which made it Saturday morning, and happy hour doesn't work on weekends. So it did make a memory. The kids have probably forgotten all about it, but I haven't. Next on my list is Noonan 25. Joe, checking in on the McDonough repeater. How you doing tonight, Joe?
Hey, Justin, it's Joe, Noonan 25, coming in on the McDonough repeater. Before I tell you what I've been up to, how is my signal? I'm only using 5 watts in a handheld radio to get in. How am I making it?
5 watts is making it. You're getting in just fine. Getting a little bit of chatter and static here and there, but overall your signal is excellent.
Good. I didn't want to subject the net to a bunch of snap, crackle, and pop. Last week I think I shared with the net our son graduated from high school. We're really proud of him, and that closes a chapter of our lives. My oldest daughter
graduated from graduate school, a master's degree from Georgia State University, and we're proud of her, and she is the third generation to get a master's degree from Georgia State. My father got his master's degree in '79. I got my MBA in '93, and my daughter Alex, class of 2020. So a lot of graduation excitement, and then at the end of the year, we anticipate noon to 6. Mary Catherine will finish her college degree and graduate. So a lot of graduations.
That's fantastic stuff. Congratulations, Joe. I know that you've got to be a proud papa with those kids accomplishing those goals. And yeah, graduate school graduate. That's outstanding. Glad to hear that third generation of masters degreed, educated people. Very cool stuff. So yeah, I suppose with that we should honor all of that with a celebration of sorts. Maybe we can gather and have a picnic, or maybe not. I don't know. I'd love to, but today being what it is, I think we're just going to have to all say congratulations, Joe, and go at it from there. But that's cool stuff. Excited to hear of those accomplishments, and for Mary Catherine to graduate this year as well. Another graduate of 2020. That's a threefer in the one household. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're really excited. On the radio front, Monday I participated in a really cool fox hunt the Dalton Amateur Radio Club put on. They hit a fox, it's still active actually, and let it run for a month. And I went up on Monday, and so did Ricky Bramlett, and he had gotten up there a little bit before me, and we both found it individually, and they let it run. And what you do once you find it, you put your QSL card in there, and they're going to have a drawing at the end of the month, which I think will be Sunday. So I'm cooking up an idea of something like that for us. I think that was fun, what we did at Amicalola last summer. Maybe we can do something like that again with a little twist and have some social distancing. So with that, good to hear everybody, and back to you, Justin. This is News 25 WRCL 957 coming in on McDonough.
Well, fantastic, and that sounds like a great idea. I can't wait to hear how this idea comes together in your head, and
I'll be clearing and monitoring.
Atlanta 276, WRAB 972, Kirby and Canton, clear.
Atlanta 275, WRAB 972, Canton, clear.
all right, YouTube folks.
QMS 733, Atlanta 36, clear as the net.
399 was here and monitoring.
Okay. A lot of doubles they're checking out, so I don't know who we missed. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I noticed again.
Atlanta 780, WQUV 439, clear the net. Good evening, gentlemen.
I can't turn that off from over here. I noticed again that it looks like the OBS studio connection to the YouTube live stream.
WRFL 821, Atlanta 92, clear the net. W3.
I'm going to have to do some research and see if I can figure out if there's a time function that's causing that to happen or what's going on. Not quite sure. So
WRAP 241, Atlanta 403, clear the net from Port Charlotte, and they did lose YouTube at 9:02 p.m.
9:02 p.m. Thank you for that. That's good information. I will research that. WQIR 514 Atlanta 946 clear. Okay, so that's what we were talking about. Somehow it dropped, and I got to figure out why. So that's what I'm going to do.
80 WRFN 658, and I'm clear.
80, there he is. Okay, and that's probably everyone. I don't know. It's impossible to tell from here. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off with you folks, and we'll catch up with you again soon. So there's about 12 minutes that are missing towards the end there. I don't have a way to recover that, so 12 minutes are gone forever. We'll never see those 12 minutes again, ever. But we're here now, and hope to see you next week. Good night, everyone.